Well, today, folks, we have General Robert E. Lee. Alright, General Lee, how many times were you promoted?
I want to say I was promoted 6 times. The first time was when I was in the U.S. Army. I was promoted to Colonel March 28th. The second time, I actually ignored an offer of command from the CSA. The third time, I believe it was the third time, I became one of the first full 5-star generals of all of Virginia's forces, but only wore 3 stars of a U.S. Army colonel. I want to say the fourth time that on June 1st, 1862, I assumed command of the Army of Northern Virginia after General Joseph Johnston. I also became, during that time, the military advisor to the Confederate President Jefferson Davis, who was the former U.S. Secretary of War. And then, I became General-in-Chief on January 31st, 1865.
Wow, that is pretty impressive there. So, what were your views on slavery, and did you want to be in the Army?
Well, my views on slavery were I personally didn't like them. I didn't believe they were correct. And no, I did not want to be in the Confederate Army. Their beliefs were not my own. So, I didn't enjoy being in it. But, so then, after my defeat at Gettysburg, I sent a letter of resignation to President Davis, but he refused to let me resign. And then, in the last days of the war, I issued a farewell address to my army.
Seems pretty good. What were some of your losses in the war?
Well, one of my losses were I launched a series of attacks, the 7 days battle against McClellan's forces. My results were heavy Confederate casualties. Also, McClellan's men recovered a lost order that revealed my plans at Antietam. Then, my decision to move north to Gettysburg proved fatal and ended in losing the western region. And again, I had a second attempt to go to Gettysburg, but this resulted in the largest amount of deaths in the war. And lastly, my men had deserted due to numerous troops outnumbering them and poor supplies at Petersburg.
Well, enough about your losses. What were some of your successes?
Well, after McClellan's retreat, I defeated another Union army at the Second Battle of Bull Run. Then after that, within 90 days of taking command, I had run McClellan off the peninsula and defeated Pope at the Second Manassas. Also, I had completely entered the spirit of war on December 13th, 1862, where destruction took its own beauty. So, and another one. The Army of the Potomac advanced to attack me in May 1863, but I had defeated Potomac with the help of Stonewall Jackson's plan. Also, my critical decisions came in May through June in 1863 after a smashing victory at Chancellorsville. And one of my last ones, Grant had tried to use his military advantages against me, but it did not work. It had failed against him.
That is pretty impressive. You seem to have a lot of victories there. Well, do you think you did well as a leader of the Confederate Army?
In the bloodiest day of war, both sides had numerous casualties, but I withstood most of the assaults, but I do not believe I was a good leader. I believe, due to all of the results of the casualties, that I was not a good leader and I could have stopped some of those deaths. It does not make me feel well in the long run as a good leader.
Okay, well, if the need be, if it came again, would you fight for the Confederate side if there was another war?
No, I would not. I did not enjoy that, and that was some of the worst times of my life.